Today's Wednesday, April 22nd, 2015. You're tuned in to the Elevator Radio Show. The Elevator Radio Show is a proud supporter of the Elevator Escalator Safety Foundation. To find out you can make a difference, visit the website today, www.eesf.org.
You're tuned in to the Elevator Radio Show, a weekly program dedicated to covering news and information on elevators, escalators, and moving walkways. Produced in the wee hours of the morning, a new show is uploaded every Wednesday, sometimes even before you get out of bed. Listen to some of the comments sent in from our audience.
Rob from New York writes, Tom, are you f***ing insane? You actually get up at 2 a.m. each Wednesday to put this show out? Man, you must love elevators. Tim from Illinois writes, I'm not sure why I listened, but ever since I tuned into the first show back in 2007, I've been addicted. Matt in Texas writes, I like your safety messages, Tom. It's important to remember them each and every day. And he also adds,
when am I going to win the monthly prize pack giveaway?
Ron from California sent this in. Despite your inability to pronounce words in the English language, I tune in each week and am glad that you offer this service to the industry. It's better than Google News alerts. Sarah from Washington writes, love the show, Tom, and look forward to it each week. I'm glad I signed up for the newsletter. You provide a valuable resource for the industry, not only for North America, but worldwide.
Enjoy the show. And now, here's your sleep-deprived host, Tom Seibert.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. It is good to be here after last week's hiatus and issues with technical difficulty with Microsoft's famous Tuesday night upgrade patch, whatever you want to call it. It's amazing that the software runs at all, basically, when you think about how many updates they push through. But yeah, it is good to be here. I apologize for not being able to put together last week's show, but we are corrected. Unfortunately, this is my second go-around with the show. Everything froze up about 15 minutes into it, which is not really a big deal or whatnot, but we're running a little short on time to get the show out. So good to be here. Make sure if you did not check out last week's program, which was non-existent, the show notes are there. Important for you to go check it out. There's some good links in there, one of which I just want to touch on very briefly, has to do with the some consideration on whether or not children should be use leashes and harnesses by their parents when in public. This was not something that was promoted in the United States or Canada or North America, but in Malaysia, where the incident were that involving the girl that fell to her death as she played on the top of the escalator and was pulled over the handrail. And really the reality is that if we can educate or do our best to educate the world in terms of making sure parents understand that escalators should not be played on, you should watch your kids at all time. And it's not just escalators you got to worry about. It's any place in a mall that has low railings, whatever. You got to watch your kids. Bottom line, the world is not a safe place. Generally speaking, it is a safe place, but you still have to be cautious in what you're doing. So anyway, good to be here again. This is show number 397. If you have an email comment, send them over to elevatorradioshow@gmail.com. Press releases I'll try to cover as quickly as I possibly can. Today I will not do that because we're running low and short on time. So up next we'll get into the news and we'll have you out of here probably in record time because I got to get this thing done. I didn't want to go a week without having the show. So up next, news, and send your email comments, concerns, gripes, whatever to elevatorradioshow@gmail.com.
Let this week's news stories give you a lift on what's happening in the vertical transportation arena. Each news segment is organically dug and fresh with news stories of the week. Got lift? If not, stay tuned.
What's nice about this week's show is that there are no accidents involving elevators, escalators, and moving walkways. That's awesome, because after the last two audio and video shows, they were pretty bad, and let's hope that we don't see any more of those for a very, very long time. So remember, practice safety as your number one priority each and every day. Okay, I'm going to let everybody watch this video on their own, but still kind of interesting. One of the topics of conversation that comes up quite often is whether or not, and this doesn't come up often in our world, but in locations where elevators and escalators are in the public use. And some of the questions or comments have come from the college and university sector when it comes to video recording or recording people in elevators or in the public domain name. And this is kind of interesting in terms of how some of the attorneys, or one of the attorneys, perceives what's allowable and what is not. I'm not 100% sure when it comes to legalities of what you're allowed to do, and it obviously should be always consulted by an attorney. As much as I don't like to consult attorneys, but it's still interesting in terms of just knowing what may or may not be legal in recording people when they're in the elevator. I think at the very least you got to make sure you let them know that. But videos are everywhere. I think the line is drawn when you start to post videos and photos of people that do not have not given permission to do so. That's where it's definitely something to check out. Okay, Facts4News.com has a nice article, and here's a great banner ad where something's being popped up. Grateful family meets hero who caught their daughter after fall off Oak Park Mall escalator. Man, if you haven't seen this video, check it out. But nice to see people are appreciative of random acts of heroism, and it's nice that the news picked up this story for sure. Okay, next news article: injuries, failures reported on Augusta VA hospital. I'm sorry, elevators, not hospital. Augusta's Charlie Norwood Veterans Affairs Medical Center had to call in contract mechanics 260 times last year to repair broken and stuck elevators. That record shows trapped 25 passengers and injured 2 others. Kind of scary. Interesting that this information is actually online. I can't read anything else other than this without going into some survey goofy thing. I'm not going to do that, but yeah, it's kind of scary. You think that that seems like a lot of times, and it sounds like it's expensive at the same time. This is coming from AugustaChronicle.com, and unfortunately, I can't read any more information on that. If anybody has information you'd like to share, please feel free to do that. This week's show has probably the most escalator related news stories, which again just kind of leads me to believe that it's a slow news day in the week in general. This one is where riders are asking about broken escalator at the Metropolitan Transit Authority, and a couple of articles relating to transit systems. And it's the bottom line is that they take time to repair, to fix, to install. They're big pieces of equipment, and just be patient. That's all I can to do, for you. And unfortunately, most news articles that cover these kind of stories just really don't ever dive deeper into. And normally, I don't think whether it's the escalator owner or the contractor is not going to share any information. Typically, there's some pretty good clauses involved in the contract that would prevent them from doing so, which I totally get. Anyway, so you can watch that video at your own leisure. Next article, good one, NewJersey.com, reporting construction to begin on $4 million Grove Street Path Station elevator, which I think is pretty darn cool. I'm not sure who has this contract. I think, and I'm not going to speculate who does, but this just goes to show you the legal system in the United States is not quick, is not easy, and I would only assume very expensive, especially in this case. Federal judge in 2011 ordered the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, which runs the PATH system, to make a downtown New Jersey City station accessible to the disabled. I think that's a good move. The decision came as a result of a lawsuit filed against the bi-state agency by 2 nonprofits 10 years ago. 10 years ago. It's taken that long. So, I don't think it should have come down to a lawsuit necessarily. And if if transit's acted or worked proactively, as many colleges and universities do, to ensure that their customers or their patrons are being taken care of in terms of accessibility, you wouldn't have judges and attorneys all shelling out lots of money to try to get an elevator in a transit station, So let this be a lesson to those transit systems out there that do not have elevators to make them accessible. So be interesting to see if this happens anywhere else, or if there's more stations that this will happen to. So anyway, okay, Taylor County approves elevator replacement. Big country homepage. Let's see here. Let's scroll down here. Taylor County Commissioners approved a budget to install a new elevator in the Social Services Building. The project is estimated to cost about $69,000. That seemed a little low Is that me, or is that not a little low in terms of a cost? And obviously, we don't know what's involved with that. It might be right on track, but yeah, I don't know. Seems a little low, which kind of has me kind of concerning and scratching my head. But maybe it's not. I don't know. Who knows? Okay, Memphis Airport escalator replacement project underway. This coming from the Memphis Business Journal. Passengers of the Memphis International Airport may have to lug their luggage up and down the stairs or wait for the elevator for the next several months. The Memphis Shelby County Airport Authority kicked off a project to replace the escalators in the airport's Terminal B ticketing and baggage areas on Monday. So anyway, they're going to be demolishing the existing escalator and installing the new one. So yeah, elevators are good, and to have anywhere you need to go up and down, and where escalators are not necessarily an option. This is a really cool video, probably posted on more sites throughout the internet than anything. This is this one I posted links up to pix11.com. It's basically an elevator ride in the World Trade Center, the new tower, the One World Trade Center, which shows the evolution or the means in which, not the means, what am I trying to say? That shows how New York built up from the first floor. So I'm going to play this because this is worthy of playing. It's 53 seconds long. Yikes. Okay, so it starts off with you're basically below floor and you're going upwards and you see all these you see trees and this beautiful open landscape, and then you see it start to build up with the turn of the century earlier. It's really a cool video. Upper right-hand corner, top of the screen shows the date, the year date in which it starts. Yeah, actually, let me go back here. Starts 1505. So right as you see the water and the marsh, it's 1531. Man, and there's actually some settlements. They're Indian settlements, and then as of 1716, you start to see homes and all that, and then it goes up until today. So I think this is genius marketing. Yeah, it's just cool. So share this with your friends, your colleagues, and your coworkers because it's pretty cool. Never think of New York as ever being treated like that, but it was. Just like everywhere else in America. Okay, next news article, ChicagoCurb.com reporting what the studio gang-designed Wanda Vista Super Tall means for Chicago. If you're like me, I have no idea what studio gang-designed Wanda Vista means, and probably this article will share that with you. But if you look at the image here, the rendering by Studio Gang Architects has the actual super tall structure listed on the right side. It looks to be like it's going to be about the same size as the Trump Tower, which is a really cool building. So it'll be 93 stories high. Got some great imagery here of what the renderings are going to look like, which are pretty cool. So check that out. Link is in the show notes. Next news articles, another escalator linked one. Star.com reporting one slow step at a time for Skywalk escalator repairs. This is the fixer trying to dive into the problem. Which, what are you going to do? Are you going to get to the bottom of it? Are you going to make it go any quicker? What's the point in this? Okay, if you are a elevator contractor and you are not aware that the Elevator Industry Work Preservation Fund has safety posters, I encourage you to check these out. Post them up in your lunchroom, share them with your mechanics, and make sure you're promoting safety, obviously, so that everybody is on the same page, so we can avoid any kind of any kind of accidents. Forget litigation. I'm sorry. That's on my mind because the next article links up with safety, and the press of AtlanticCity.com reports that company fined $28,000 in Atlantic City elevator accident that killed worker. And now this fine is coming from OSHA. If I can get through, okay. Elevator company was fined $28,000 for the fatal accident in Atlantic City apartment building. Let me just scroll down here. I didn't see the OSHA report in here, but apparently the citation lists 4 violations categorized as serious. Each carries a $7,000 fine for a total of $28,000. Company is contesting the citation. I'm sure this information could be found online through OSHA. I didn't get a chance to look it up. I'll see if I can do that for next week's program. Just so you know, OSHA is a an organization which I think is a good organization. It is funded primarily by fines, and having dealt with OSHA in the past, it's not always the easiest practice. I totally agree with making workplaces safer, but I do not necessarily agree with fines that do not necessarily make, well, how can I say this? Do not necessarily fix the problem. Does that make sense? I'm not saying it right, and I don't know. It's a terrible tragedy. I totally agree with that. I'm going to see if I can find more information on this in the next week's program, because I think that's the only way to really try to explain myself. Okay, and the last news article for this week's program at dailymail.co in the UK. I think I might have covered this before, but hey, if you forgot to, well, actually, I should just read the title. That'll say it all. Prague Airport hires porters to carry passengers' luggage up 32 stairs at metro station because of a £525 million rail project didn't budget for an escalator. What about the elevator? I mean, come on. Isn't there an elevator here? But I guess in Prague or some other country, you don't have to worry about it. I guess this is how you put people back to work. You have them do jobs like this. Interesting. So you can read this link. Link is in the show notes. There's actually a video there as well. So how many did they hire? Oh, no, they just hired a few. Okay. But yeah, why not? Probably a good workout, right? Anyway. Okay, well, that's going to do for this week's show, everybody. Sorry to blast through it like that. I hate doing that. Makes it a real short show, 16 minutes, 17 minutes, which is nice. But again, it is what it is. So we'll be back next week. Prize pack giveaway is also next week. We'll be giving away some cold, hard cash, along with some other goodies that I'll talk about on next week's program. If you've got an article, you've got an email you'd like to send it to me, send it to elevatorradioshow@gmail.com. Remember, practice safety each and every day, and make sure you do your part to protect those at work, inspect, and consult on the equipment that we all love and that provides our livelihood, and then also to those that to the riding public as well. So everybody have a great week out there. Think spring, and let's hope that it gets a little bit warmer out there, okay? All right, take care. Bye-bye.